I'd like to welcome everyone to the June the 1st Commissioners Meeting. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, we have approved our minutes for May 18th. Account payable vouchers and the payroll docket. Would entertain a motion to accept.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes, the payable voucher and payroll dockets. I second that.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Mr. Manning, Alan, you have the floor, sir, or Larry. Both of you,
That was quick.
both of you.
Just step up here.
Yeah.
What the deal is.
Yeah, that's the deal.
My name's Larry Jones. I'm with the Jefferson County Veterans Council, and Alan Manning's there with me as backup. So we recently installed flag boxes for tattered flags. There was no place in Madison that was out to the public, easy to see. So we put one at Lowe's, and the commissioners and Troy Morgan are so gracious that we put one out to the emergency management storage facility. So anyone that has any flags, they'll be putting those, we'll collect them, either give them to the Boy Scouts for the right way to destroy them. The Elks does it, American Legion. So like to get the word out on that. Couple other things we got going on. We're involved in the Vietnam Veteran Memorial. We're going to put a memorial up around the courthouse. Again, the commissioners are gracious to do that. So even though we wasn't initially involved, we kind of got drawn into it. We're doing the money part, collecting that since we're a 501c3. So we're kind of the bank. Alan's working with Mr. Horan quite a bit about the design. So that's going to be coming up. We do the transportation for veterans to go to the VA hospitals and clinics. So we always need drivers for that. And we also do veterans for needy veterans. We got a relief fund that Jefferson County Veterans Council does. Any veterans that are in need, housing, anything like that, especially in the winter hits. So that's kind of the things we do for people that don't know. But we want to thank the commissioners for being supportive of our outfit and everything you do for us. Again, thanks for letting us put the box out there.
Thank you guys for what you do.
May I make a comment? The office downtown, I don't know how many veterans they take up from World War II to Korea, Vietnam, or an owner flies out of Cincinnati or Indianapolis or Louisville, and you get a full day tour in Washington, DC. And for the veterans, it's free, but the escort, which may not be your wife or your friend, woman friend, it has to go along as an escort, and they pay their way. And there's people that donate their money and time to take veterans up there. So it's a good thing to know.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you know much about that, Alan? I do. Okay, so I don't know. We have never done one here. I guess we go through Louisville or Cincinnati.
I would prefer going through Cincinnati. Airport's easier.
Yeah, I mean, basically all three airports do it. It's an application process. They take priority, obviously, World War II veterans and down the line. They have to be relatively ambulatory, which means they have to be able to get up and down steps on a bus after they get off the airplane around DC. It's about a 16-hour day, so the person has to be pretty well knowing that they're going to be going. And that's just from the airport to the airport, not back and forth through the airport. So it's a long day. But from all the veterans that I've talked to that have done it, they've all appreciated it. And when they come home back to the airport, there's always a crowd waiting on them to welcome them back. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Here goes to Alan. As you go by, I had to have him to come out. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Larry, you have other boxes too around the county, right? Not just, you have a couple outside, but
No,
because you have one, oh, you,
We just got two right now, one of
Okay.
those and out there outside at the,
Because we have one from the courthouse.
yeah.
AOC donated
Oh,
that to
okay.
us, so we have one in the courthouse.
If this goes over good, I think we're gonna look at buying some more and place them around, like at DuPont or, out the outlying areas, so.
So let us know.
Yep.
If anybody would like to have a box, let us know. We can see if we can come up with funding to do it. There are the boxes around the county. I mean, there's one at the VFW, one at the Legion, one at the Elks, there's one at the Hanover Park inside the building. Faith at the Veteran Service Officer, you can turn them into her. So there are places do it. We wanted to put them outdoors as much as possible. So people in frequently visited places, so people have a visibility and hopefully utilize them. One thing I would say is, Flag Day is coming up on the 14th. If you've got a tattered flag, pull it down. And if you can't afford to put a new one up, it's better to have nothing than to have that tattered flag flying, my opinion.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Patty, floor is yours. Or I should say podium.
We are conducting the first public hearing for the Jefferson County owner occupied rehab program. This evening, I've got bid tab sheets if you would like to follow along. There we go. No. Does anybody else want one? All right, and we'll get right to business. Looks like the first set of bids are from Stalen Construction. Property located at 2611 Franks Drive. The bid is $23,600. That's $23,600. 2482 Franks Drive. The bid is $12,550. 2482 Franks Drive is $12,550. Property located at 1626 Washington Street. The bid is $31,400. That's $31,400. The bid for 1922 Maple Street is $16,750. That's $16,750. Bid for 2420 South College Hills Drive is $21,550. That's $21,550. And then the last one for Mike Stalen with Stalen Construction for 7959 West 1100 North is $32,700. $32,700. Next set of bids is from First Choice Construction. $2611 Franks Drive. The bid is $21,375. $21,375. 2420 South College Hills. The bid is $19,550. $19,550. 7959 West 1100 North. The bid is $27,178. $27,178. Actually, I think that's a 5. $27,175. Bid for 1626 Washington Street is $23,900. $23,900. Bid for 1922 Maple Street is $17,375. $17,375. And the last bid for 2482 Franks Drive is 7,900. 7,900. And that's all of the bids for first choice construction. Next set of bids is from Jackson Construction, and I just want to make sure you guys know that I am not related to these people, so I just want to make sure you know that.
Yes.
Right, Jason, we're not related. We've worked together for a long time, but. All right. 1922 Maple Street. 12,980. 12,980. 2482 Franks Drive. 7,850. 7,850. 1626 Washington Street. 23,100. 23,100. 7959 West 1100 North. The bid is 30,910. 30,910. 2611 Franks Drive. The bid is 23,530. 23,530. And the last one. 2420 South College Hills. 17,420. 17,420. So that looks like all of the bids that we have received, and it looks like we've got some really good bids, competitive. What I'd like is for you guys to take these under advisement, give me time to review them,
Right.
and then I'll return to your next meeting for us to award the contracts. Can't get that in there. All right,
Okay,
okay,
thank you
great.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mark. Come on up.
Hey, on behalf of Jack Lawson with me here and James Shireman, my bodyguards. Thank you, Mr. President and board members. Again, I want to express a lot of appreciation to Sarah and Heather. They've been great to work with. We've been together a long time now. Also, thanks to Mr. Shane Steen and Mr. Roberts, Sheriff Flint, and special thanks again always to Bob Little, who has a background in construction. He's been out there with us, I don't know how many hours, and he has helped us think through tough things and came up with some great ideas, cost savings and efficiency. And the other commissioners have been out too once in a while. We appreciate all of you. We were fortunate to have a good construction team out there. You never know when you have public bidding who you're going to get. We got a great team out there, and Bob can attest to that. Who, along with us and Mr. Little and Shane Steen and Mr. Roberts, we continue to work together toward the most efficient and cost-saving creative solutions. And we think a lot about staffing. So some of the changes you make try to help your staffing be more efficient, and safety is a big thing. So the results from the independent testing labs have been very high on the concrete and all that steel and soil and all that. So the quality remains very high. And that's a testament to folks like James and Jack and contractors. So we got some changes here. We've been in the process since we've been in the construction meetings, and this stuff's been discussed for several weeks. And again, it's good for operations and safety. Changes have been thoroughly reviewed and vetted and priced and repriced and hammered down and reworked and approved by DLZ and John Painter. John is, remember, the Jack Kraus died, God rest his soul. John is his partner. John, he doesn't let a penny get by without him being okay with it. And they're all signed and all that, but we're still in hopes to be substantially completed later on this summer, and we're working hard to get that. But we're also very cognizant of the quality. We want to make sure that's high. So we're gonna go over these here. We're not asking for more money again. We're just talking about contingency funds being transferred on. So let's see if we can get this out. Pass this around. This first thing is something you all have seen. This is John Painter's, okay, so to speak. So anyway, this first thing, there's 4 contractors affected here, so if I can read my own handwriting, which is very difficult. What we did, the original design did not have a road going all the way. So we got a 40-acre campus out here, and the design as bid didn't have a road that went around the campus. So we modified the grades, we added gates, we added fence, modified fences, built a road, and we had to revise some manholes and move some fire hydrants and some effect on the landscaping. So this first thing on EH is that what was required in their package, in their scope, signed by us and the contractor and Phil Wink with DLZ. So that's EH. The next thing is Link Electric. And so Link has, first thing up there is the loop road changes, gates and controls and things that went along with that. We also did some things with Link here we're trying to catch up with is water softeners and recirculating pumps. We changed some lighting. We added some circuits to some panel boards and made some changes there. We made some changes in the IT work in Unit A. We moved some things from one room to another. Again, part of the efficiency, staffing, operations, as everyone thinks about the project, is there a better way to do things? If we move things around, does it make it more efficient? We added some duress buttons again. You know, those are emergency things. That's part of the safety business. The next one is Hussing Mechanical. We added some more cold water and to get to the air conditioners in the computer room, some more piping and a backflow preventer, just making things better. The last thing is Pauley Jail. See, guys, I put that yellow highlighter on there so old guys like me can see that says Pauley Jail. Anyway, they had controls. They had to do a bunch of control work and change controls and change some computer programming to make the gates on Loop Road work as they got moved and added and changed. And again, they had to do some programming and work on the duress buttons. So anyway, that's the 4 changes. If we had your blessing to move the contingency fund over to take care of that, I think we still have probably about $450,000 left after this. And I don't know that there's a lot of things out there floating around, but I think we're still in pretty good shape to be this far along and the changes. And you know, a lot of this, I guess you'd say changes or upgrades or enhancements or making something better. And Bob Little, and I know you were out there a couple times, but has looked through all these with us and we all feel good. It's fair and decent, honest and good. And we'd like to have your blessing if we could, then we would ask that you would sign 2 and give us 1 and you keep 1. That's kind of where we're at for this moment. Is that a big enough plan?
Gentlemen, okay with it? I know we were okay with the loop road, remember? And the gates and all that. And the IT changes in the rooms were a benefit to both sides. There's less wiring, less time.
Again, we appreciate Bob's input in that. Help us think through that.
John's okay with them.
Well, I know we had some issue with how much was remaining in the contingency. Are we sure with? I mean, that number that you.
Yeah, we're very close. I feel like we're pretty close to about 450,000 left.
check with Heather and sign these tomorrow, you think maybe?
I mean, we'll post on that, because I know there's,
Yeah.
again, some questions about
Yeah,
charging and stuff like that, so. That's all familiar, or I mean, that's-
It's been a while since I've seen a budget,
Yeah, I got-
tracking sheet.
I need to get that to you.
Yeah.
I'm remiss in my duties. It's laying on my desk.
Okay, yeah, if we could get that, then I'll run by Andrew and see what our
Yeah,
agreed numbers are there.
actually, I drove off and
Sure.
checked it on this table.
Can't find out tomorrow, then the next day or so we can sign 2 copies. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine, sure.
Just to
Okay,
cover our
Yeah,
bases.
you just shoot that to me in the morning.
I can
then
do that.
will-
I can do that first thing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. You guys okay then?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
James.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
All right.
guys. Okay, Lindsay, you're up. You're under the bus. No, I'm
You
just,
got a vote thing down?
I'm just teasing. Gotta pick on you.
All right. I'm gonna switch the order up a little bit. If I can. So today we have our chairman of the board here, Dr. Waltz. And we also have our new health officer. So Dr. Susan Stack has agreed to be our health officer. She is replacing Dr. Hostler, who has retired. You guys should have gotten an email from Blythe about the function tomorrow. So the board gets to interview, so they took applications and Dr. Sue was the best fit. I mean, she's been here in our community for a long time, taking care of most of us, including myself. So she was a great fit and should have shoe in. And because of that, we now have an opening on our board. So that takes me to my next line item. The board is recommending Dr. Hall. We kept the same lineup from the last group of people that you guys gave, that we gave you guys. And the board of health has to remain politically neutral. So of the willing participants, he is our best fit. So I have that sheet here today, if you guys are willing to vote and agree on it. I can walk away with your signature. So here's that.
What the motion. Okay. Philip N. Hall for the replacement on the board. Of the Jefferson County Health Department. Hotel.
I had him in soccer when he was 10. I had him in soccer when he was 10.
Now you're telling them.
Okay,
He's only 16.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I move we accept the appointment to Jefferson County Health Board to Dr. Hall for the period of. Well, started it in 21, although it will end in December of 24.
Okay, have a motion to have a second.
A second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Guess that would be me.
Yep. Let's vote on it.
I have some stuff. The next portion. All right. So the first thing, let's do the assistant administrator. So I am on the agenda for council. You'll see the second page. The other one. The other packet up here by your Coke can. Okay. So the first page is the job description, the second page has a breakdown. Historically, this was a position that used to be at the health department. So I'm asking to have it reinstated. Historically, the position made 85% of what the administrator made, so you'll see that breakdown up on the top right-hand side. I put 85% and 80%. I'm going to ask that for the first year, for the remainder of this year, they'd be at 80% during the trial period. And then starting next year, they would be at 85% of the administrator salary. So off to the left, you'll see the breakdown of payments and payroll dates. And how much that totals up to through the end of the year. And everything corresponding in that yellow khaki color has everything to do with that 80%, which will be the rest of this year. So you'll see the mathematical stuff off to the left as well in the breakdown. So I'm guessing that things were manageable before with COVID. It got really a little crazy. And now that COVID has been, the end of the emergency come to fruition that we've all kind of been waiting for. The state has picked up a lot of things like the Governor's Public Health Commission, which is the other packet. There's a lot of septic rule changes. There's a lot of new pushes, new incentives, new reportings, lots more financials, requirements on our end just for separating funds. The job has become more than what one person can do. So I'm asking to have it reinstated, and I'm asking for your support if council backs it to go ahead and start interviewing for this position.
We are having a meeting with council here on the agenda next Tuesday or
On the 13th.
13th.
The 13th.
Yeah.
I will say that our fund has money in it. So we wouldn't need additional monies put into the main fund for the current year.
So with the funding from the state, from this new bill cover salary next year?
No, I mean, I'm looking for this to be a position that happens in 2023. I do have other things that I'd like to discuss with the Governor's Public Health Commission and positions, but those would all wait to be funded by the Governor's Public Health money.
Would the salary fit into your budget next year? If they would give you the position?
There is a chance. A lot of times with additional funding, they don't like it to be switched if you already have funding in one area to another. So there's possibility. I'm not sure how it works since this isn't a grant. It's actually money that we will be awarded. It might be a little bit different. So there's potential for that, yes.
Okay. I guess bottom line, wait and see what the council says, right?
Yeah.
Since they control the purse string, so to speak.
They do control the purse strings.
Yeah.
I'm sure even with this, there's gonna be a lot more by the state. There's gonna be a lot more reporting requirements.
There are a lot more. I mean, that's a considerable amount of money to manage on top of that. And that in itself is a lot. But just the daily ongoings in the health department has it's grown. So the maintenance calls today, I got, we have a leaky sink out of nowhere. So, I mean, there's just random things that happen every single day. And on top of that, just my own training. I haven't been a health department for 15 to 20 years. I haven't had the experience to get to grow with the health department. So before there was, leisure time to be able to go out and learn different positions, and I don't have that ability. So I feel like at the time, doing away with the position was probably really good use of the county's money. But I think that it's probably time to bring it back. And it is something that is common in almost every surrounding county. And throughout the entire state. Most local health departments have an assistant administrator.
I don't see any issues to not support or do you?
No.
Okay,
Thank you.
alrighty.
All right, moving along. Good. You don't vote, you don't have to vote. I just wanted to know that you have your support.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll be there, so.
Okay. All right. You want to talk about money? New money
Well,
that you don't have to give me?
yeah, but
You-
well, I know. What are there strings? And I know there are, but
There
are
are.
the strings that you think you can manage since you're gonna be?
There
dealing-
are strings. So the first page, they call them a one pager. So it's front and back, has lots of interesting information. You can peruse it, but for the most part, the front is where the bulk of the information is. So if we opt in, it's an opt-in, opt-out, so you'll have to vote. And I just have to send either, you can sign a piece of paper, you can create a letter, or I can just send meeting minutes to opt-in. So, opt-in, the minimum amount, so the first year, you'll be getting 50%. In the second year, you'll be getting the full 100% and hopefully years to come. So they do it on a 2-year cycle. And to get this funding, you have to agree to the core services. So that second packet that I gave you behind the one pager, it shows all of the core services on the left, and on the right, it gives a brief description. So they're still working on the KPIs, so they might come back with certain percentages or certain numbers or specifics that they want you to meet, but it will fall in line with the descriptions that are on the left-hand side, the right-hand side. So these are all the things that they're going to be required of us to do in order to get this funding. So you'll look and on the one pager, they did this really nice little breakdown, the blue boxes. It says it has to be at least 60% of your funding is spent on this area. Communicable diseases, student health, testing and counseling for STIs, referrals to clinic care, vital statistics, fatality review, TB control, chronic disease and prevention, trauma and injury, tobacco cessation, maternal and child health, emergency preparedness, childhood lead, and adult and childhood immunizations. So 60% of the funding has to be spent on this, and it's at least 60%, and if it was 41.59, it's still within, they just want to see it within this certain range. So they're not trying to control exactly how we spend it. If we're $1 over or a couple $1,000s, or they don't, that's not really what they're after here. They're after a bigger picture that the majority of our money gets spent in this area. So no more than 40% can be spent in food protection, OSS, so on-site sewage systems, sanitary inspections, pest control, the public and semi-public pools, different sanitary operations with tattoos and eyelash extensions. So those can't take more than 40% of our money, which I feel like that might even be a little bit much. I think we'll definitely be able to hit that number. And then overall, 10% of it can be used for so cars, building upgrades, buildings, not including rent, so you can pay rent out of it without it going towards capital. Not that we would do that, but I know other counties, they might have a separate building for different things, so they might have rent. utilities for that building that they pay rent on, since they don't own it, won't count as capital. So for us, we almost meet all of these requirements as it stands. But by meeting it, I just mean we're meeting the requirement. We are not excelling in these categories. But we do well. We meet them before they're even a core public service. So there are two things. We have the supplies to do lead testing, but most of the lead testing gets done at our pediatrician's office. And the second one is a overdose and suicide fatality review team. We do not have one currently in our county.
I think some of it though, you can partner with others, right?
You can, most of the stuff is definitely partner with others. It's access to care for most of us. So if we don't do it, we can partner with someone who does do it. And we can provide access to care, we can refer them out. So as long as someone in the county does it and we are a participant in some way or another, it counts towards meeting that core service. So
Is that for the others, other than those two, are those ones that you kind of already partner with, or ones that you do already,
like the tobacco cessation, we have, we have literature in our office, but the Healthy Communities Initiative has a tobacco cessation program. They would like us to have, under the trauma and injury prevention, that includes substance abuse. We have the HCI has the substance abuse team. And I sit on both the healthy lifestyles, which includes the tobacco cessation and the substance abuse team. So I am part of both of those. So that meets our requirement. So there's lots of different, there's probably lots of other things. KDH I know does some fatality review statistics on minors. So we do have something.
I just, go down through all of this,
Okay.
but I just.
Yes, we do,
Yeah.
we do partner with people already.
What are your, this is a public meeting, what are your thoughts?
What are
On
my
this,
thoughts?
yeah.
I think that it's. First, I know that you guys said that council's the purse strings, and I know that, but I'm still really appreciative that you guys are supportive of the health department. There have been lots of counties that have come forward saying that their commissioners and council aren't willing, they aren't even willing to listen to it. They feel like it's gonna be out of their control. But we have one of the better fundings in the state as we stand right now. So I think that's a big testament to our county and our willingness to put some healthy forward options out there for people and to be preventative in nature. So I think this will allow us to do a lot of good. So right now, there was a grant that came out. It was it stemmed out of COVID because immunizations were getting behind in schools, the required immunizations. So they came up with a grant specifically for hiring someone to go in and help school nurses. We hired Stacy Barnes, and she has done an amazing job with that program. She's taken it and made it her own. She works closely with all of the school nurses. And what we're finding, which isn't a huge surprise. Most of us know that a lot of the schools are underfunded in a lot of ways. And health is one of those things. So we go in and we do immunization clinics, but we want to be able to go above and beyond. Prevention is much better than being reactive. So she was able to work with local dentists to get dental supplies, to donate it so that we could give them out to every second grader in the county. And that's just one program that she was able to do, but it took her a lot of effort and a lot of. It wasn't easy.
Sure.
So nothing is ever easy.
Sure,
but-
I was gonna say,
But being able to have something like this, with this kind of funding, to be able to bring in. Like mobile dental units, a lot of our dentist office in town don't accept Medicaid. So.
Sure.
There's an underserved population there, and if we can take care of our kids. With using this funding, I think that's kind of. it's a win-win in my opinion. It's kind of a no-brainer with getting funding given to us and we're able to turn around and give it right back out to the community in several different ways. So there's a lot of the school nurses are unable to attend continuing education, different relevant trainings. So this would allow us to fund that for them. Let's see. The fatality review team, it would kind of, not that that takes a lot of money, but I think that having that as a requirement might incentivize other people to be active participants on the board, knowing that it's a requirement for our county. It would allow us to partner with the Healthy Communities Initiative. So I know that they have funding from lots of different sources, but I also know that when they do health fairs and like they use tailgate nights, they have a hard time getting sponsorships and making it bigger. So with this kind of money, we would be able to make that more present in our community. Other counties have talked about doing or funding cancer screenings to certain populations. So we've started looking into that. We have car seats, we provide car seats, but we have a limited grant. So it would allow us to serve the population better. There's lots of times where we've had to tell people, well, I have one left and they have 3 kids. So this would be an opportunity for us to make sure our kids are safe. There's,
So it's fine. You've looked over, that's all
yeah.
I mean,
this
I've
is
looked through it too, and it seems like it's a good deal. Like I said, there's always those strings attached and
Mhm.
you'd have to deal with most of them and it seemed like you're okay with those. I don't want to say, we go, yeah, it's a great deal, and then you're gonna deal with it, so.
Yeah, I
Don't
think,
wanna do
I
that.
think it's a great opportunity and I think
mean, we
it's
haven't-
worth any of the strings.
Have to go in September, right, is the final,
It is,
so, I mean, I don't know, we'll wait until then, but we got a little bit of time.
we
And
do have a little bit of time, but I will say that it would help in terms of budgeting.
sure,
Because
yeah,
our
because you would
county
know,
budget's due by the end of this month. So if I had the approval, then I could start working
2
on
weeks later, last.
budgets and I could make amendments later, but
Sure.
instead of having to
But
appropriate all the
yeah,
money.
I don't think we
2024.
plan on dragging it out till August 31st and going, yeah, let's, we'll let you know ahead of time. But I think it's worth the investigation, just to figure out
Yeah, if
and
you
stuff
just
and.
come up with any questions, maybe
See
we
if the
can
ends
put it
justify
in
the
an
means.
email.
Sure,
We can
I
start
mean,
putting it in
we
an
got
email, we can
this
answer
today, yesterday, we got this today in the email, so.
it. You just got it today. I thought they sent that, they said they sent that out a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think they had the information,
Oh, okay,
you could go and figure out what your opt-in or
okay,
and minimums and maximum, and they said, if everyone gets into it, that's why it's the minimum, and
Yeah.
I don't know how they decided how many wouldn't get into it and gave it the maximum, but yeah, they gave you a range.
I don't think we'll know exactly what our funding is until like September 2nd, and
Sure,
even then.
once
they're not-
everybody, they
they're
know,
not going to
It's in the
until
program.
probably-
well, I think they'll tell you, you just won't get the money until January, so.
Yeah.
And I think at least what I heard, it's not a month by month payment, I think it's,
It's it should be
I
a
think
twice a year.
I think.
We currently have a fund right now, so at the very bottom, when it says, not the very bottom, like the bottom of that top section where it says your opt-in amounts. And it says, or
The
if you
legacy
opt out,
amount.
you'll get the legacy amount. We currently get a total very similar to that, through 2 different funds right now. Instead of using 2 different funds, it'll lump into one,
Sure.
regardless of how we.
Yeah, you have to, you gotta come up with a line item for it, I think.
Right, and do you know, I did not pull how far off we are from that opt-in amount, what we currently budget?
What we currently budget versus the
What,
opt-out amount.
or opt-in,
Opt-in.
don't we have to meet a certain
It has
amount?
to be a certain percentage.
So for the first year, you have to maintain a year's 3-year average. So for next year, you would have to maintain the average of 23, 22, and 21.
Yeah, but I think she was saying, if you're spending a certain amount on health funding right now, that counts as your match towards their.
Yes, yes.
Their
it does.
funding, and
Yes, nothing additional has to come out of the county at all.
Right.
I think we're already close
I
to,
think we're close to the.
Right.
match
Yes,
right
no,
now.
no additional money has to come from the county from here on out.
so. Okay,
So we're financially, by opting in, we won't be out any additional funds.
so I'm gonna send you an invitation to the Health and Human Relations Commission meeting, which is the end of June. Just
Okay.
because some of these things we were talking about, I said, well, I know this is coming out, and so it
Okay,
may address a lot of, so it's not gonna be anything more than what you've done here, but there may be some more questions. but,
that's fine. If you come up with any questions that you
Sure.
want me to answer,
Yeah.
email to me and I'll get answers for you before I get there. And the same with this board. Oh, I mean, that's fine too.
No. Yeah. Okay,
All right.
and if you think of other things too, I mean, you know, keep
So when do you think I can come back and get a vote?
on opting in.
Yeah,
Well, budgets are due the 28th. Ones are,
LGF wanted to meet earlier, so it's pushed.
oh,
everything up.
that's it, blame somebody else.
And then, you know, there is this thing called the fair, that's right before
Oh.
that meeting. that-
Everything quits that week. Right?
Oh.
Everything quits that week
Yeah,
for a lot of people, I know.
yes.
I mean, since I'm not gonna actually know my full amount until probably the end of September, because everyone has to either opt in or out.
Sure.
I don't think it matters that much, but I think it'd be a good thing to have on the radar for council, even if I just have a blank sheet.
Oh, yeah.
These are the line items we're considering, this is the amounts that we're thinking about, even if it's not an approval situation. So at the budget meeting, I think it'd be a good opportunity.
It would be best to come in with those higher figures so that,
Yes.
you know, regardless, we would know as long as I
I mean-
advertise for it. The fund.
And I think,
Do you think next meeting?
yeah, I mean,
Look over and ask questions.
unfortunately, that's about the only day we could do it, because we're not gonna meet after that, so, but, yeah, I mean, I mean, I'll keep digging, but so far, everything that's out there says, yeah, this is something, and of course, there's all those people saying, yeah, you need to do this, but that's.
Don't
Sure.
listen to them, just
Sure.
listen to whatever
Well-
you're reading, and if you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so I think in a couple of weeks we'd be able to, and that'll give you time to put it in your, consider it in your budget.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have any other questions? I hit you with a lot of random things today.
It's all related to the health department.
Gotta be done.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank everybody that came with you.
I recognize a face back there, Lifetime Resources.
Yeah, you ready for me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you.
The county's always been very supportive of our organization, so we're really thankful for that. So I normally kind of stand up here and tell you, you know, the standard sort of spiel, and I want to change it up just a little bit today. We're an area agency on aging, and so we provide a variety of services to help people maintain their independence in their homes. But what we've realized recently is some of the core services that we provide are not services that people can sort of touch and feel. And so there's not as great of an understanding of things like case management or things like in-home services. And that's really the core of what we do and what is of extreme importance to older adults and individuals with disabilities here in the county. I'm going to kind of guide you to this pie chart that you should have gotten in your packet there. And so it shows you that we serve 826 individuals in Jefferson County, and it does have a breakdown of all of the different services that we provide. And I want to remind you that if there's someone who is getting in-home services, for example, a lot of those in-home services are not just things, it's not just a one and done. Those are things that those people rely on a regular, ongoing monthly basis. So it's things like meals, it's in-home care, you know, different types of services in their homes. It could be homemaking services where they're getting help with meal prep and cooking and cleaning and things like that. It could be personal care where they may need help with bathing and toileting and, you know, transitions in and out of the bathtub and, you know, just things that are helping them maintain their independence in their homes where most people would far rather be, and where it's far more cost effective than a nursing facility placement, which a lot of them are facing as their alternative. So there's some numbers there in the letter, just to sort of break down, you know, an average care plan cost for someone in our organization is $412 in comparison to a month's stay at a nursing home at over $7,000. So it's really, really important. It's a really valuable service. And I just thought it might be beneficial to kind of talk to you guys about those services, because I know things like Catch a Ride, for example, are the things that are more visible in the community. People are a little bit more familiar with that. So I just, like I said, just sort of wanted to highlight that today. What we'll be asking for from the county, is $15,000. As you can see there, also on that pie chart, our budget for Jefferson County is a little over 1.1 million. So that 15,000 represents about 1.45% of that. Another thing that you may not be aware of is that we're actually part of a statewide network that covers the entire state of Indiana. And area agencies on aging are actually something that was created as part of the Older Americans Act by Congress in 1965. So it is a national type of organization. We have statewide coverage. I meet on a monthly basis with all the other AAAs across the state. And we really are constantly talking about, you know, what are the current needs and how do we get involved in different types of unique grants and, you know, things. Throughout COVID, we sort of stepped out and helped with you know, vaccines and just social isolation. We're starting a new caregiver program where we're able to offer really sort of specialized training and information for caregivers who find themselves in a new situation, and you know, the individual that they're caring for is kind of progressively worsening and things like that. We're able to provide them care, training and support and various different things like that. So we're kind of always constantly evolving and applying for new grants and just trying to kind of keep up with the needs of the community. So can I answer any questions at all? Okay.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you for your support. And yeah, if there's anything, oh, I do want to say, for Catch a Ride, we've really struggled throughout COVID with hiring drivers in particular, just because a lot of our drivers generally are, you know, retirees. And I think drivers and individuals have really been scared to get out and about. So we're trying to kind of entice them back out into the community. And we've actually done surveys and things because I actually thought that there was a possibility that individuals were taking advantage of things like fast food meal delivery and grocery delivery and things like that, and also telemedicine appointments and things. That we actually found that was not the case. The population that we're serving is really not utilizing that much more than they were pre-COVID. It's just actually that they're scared to get out and they're heavily relying on family and friends and things like that. So we're trying to kind of encourage them to get back out, and we're finally starting to find some drivers and be able to kind of get back to the norm. But system wide across our 6 counties for Catch a Ride, we're only back to about 60% of norm. So it's been a bit of a struggle, but we're kind of getting back into things, and we're nearly at a point where we've got several people in progress, but we're nearly to a point where we've got all the drivers that we need to sort of get back to normal here. So, you know, I don't know if you hear anything or anything like that, but if people have had struggles getting places, it's been tough. So. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mr. Phillips. Waiting in the wings right there.
Waiting in the wings, looking at the sunshine, just chomping at the bit to get back at it.
Yeah.
But we're making some progress up at Highway Department this morning. We started out with the bid opening for the soil mill wall to complete that grant agreement and the funding that we approved earlier, probably back in March. We had 2 bidders that participated in this process. The first one was All Star Paving. Their bid was $591,295 and no cents, 591,295.00. The other one is RL Buxton Excavating. Their bid was $408,719 and 51 cents. 408,719.51. The engineer's estimate on this project was $450,325. 450,325.00. I'm going to request that we award the project to R.L. Buxton for the price tag of $408,719.51. That will repair 2 slide projects on 2 different roads. We'll group them all in one project. Be as efficient as we can be.
Okay. Put that in the form of a motion.
Move we accept our Buxton's bid for $408,719. $19
$19.
and 51 cents.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor signify by aye. Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Carry item a check for 51 cents.
Probably so. That'll be part of it.
I'd like to see their estimating software thinking.
Me
We'll
too.
get most of that
That
back,
gets
so
that
that's the
close.
good thing. And it's nice when you can come in under engineers' estimates and under budget on the entire project, so hopefully we don't run into any hiccups and it goes ahead and stays that way. We do have a small structure that we're replacing currently on 750 North. That will be a bridge when it's all said and done. It did need to expand just a little bit to accommodate the waterway. It looks like everything is progressing. We've got final tracings, final drawings and everything for Bridge 6 on West Street. Right now, the anticipated bid date for that is going to be July the 6th, 2023, but that will be advertised and everything well ahead of that. Other than that, just been a lot of maintenance, cleanup. Luckily, we haven't had any major storms, knock on wood. We could use a little rain for sure, but very pleasant Memorial Day weekend for sure. Made for a short week for this week. Still plugging away. That's all I have unless you guys have something for me.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll grab your signatures when you guys are complete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Carter.
I may have misheard. Peter Hester, that children should be vaccinated for COVID.
I did not say that. I did not.
You mentioned children and COVID, so what was your statement?
I mentioned state got behind on required childhood immunizations. COVID is
That's
not,
vaccination and the immunization.
yes, but that's not a COVID vaccination.
What kind of immunization are you talking about? Then you mentioned COVID and immunization. I'd like to have a clarification of that.
There's a list of required childhood vaccinations that the Department of Education requires.
I don't care what they require. I'm only saying, I want to know if there's any COVID vaccines or immunities that's given to children. Because we're gonna put a stop to it right now. That ain't gonna happen. They should not be given. It's proven in several countries already. And I got a file 2 inches thick. If you want it brought, it'll be showing up here shortly. The COVID vaccines are not working for any individuals, especially children. I've got the stats on it, and I don't want to get into that because I didn't know actually tonight. I can provide you plenty of stats on it. But children should not be vaccinated with any of the COVID vaccines. Neither anybody that's smart, if you're an adult, will not take it. It will not prevent you from getting COVID. It will make a severe case of COVID if you do get it. I've got statistics to prove it worldwide, and I'll be glad to give them. But the reason I'm here is my favorite argument here. The state had 2 chances to pass a Second Amendment preservation law in 2022 and 2023. 1317 House Bill Biden in one of the meetings, judicial meetings or something. This year, same law, same words. 1117 died in the same committee. I called last Monday and asked that committee to provide me the minutes of the decisions and how they reached the decisions for their reasoning. And I called again early this morning. I hear a lot of passing the buck around. They tried to get off of saying I can only request it through my representative to the state house, and I got news for them. That ain't gonna happen. But number one, I'm back. I want my Second Amendment Preservation Acts, as I provided you in the past, passed as lawful ordinance under the state of Jefferson County. And I brought another little thing tonight on this. What does it mean when the federal law is to be the supreme conflict between federal and state laws, or that also goes down to county laws? And it says constitutional laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof, treaties, et cetera, and be the supreme law of the land if it's per the Constitution. The hierarchy of the law under federal law preempts state law in the event of a conflict, except, as the last paragraph says, if it's not in consistency with the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the United States says, the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So any laws that come up with on these things, that's an infringement. Therefore, it can be nullified because it is not constitutional. And I want the county, if you don't still have the copies of what I brought, the different counties around, we have several counties in Indiana that have passed these, one of them as far back as 2013. And I'm back on that, and I'll be very time because I expect to be passed by the council. But definitely, you got it. And also, there are some sheriffs in the Indiana that have made proclamations that they will uphold the Constitution. And that means they're not going to enforce federal law. The feds want to come in, and I said before, it's not up to county taxpayers to do the federal job of enforcing laws. And we have no business doing it for them on our money. I pay enough federal taxes, I can tell you, they can afford to do it themselves. So I'll be back, and you'll start sending me the council meetings again, and as soon as I can get Indianapolis Act Commission's reasoning of why this bill I gave you failed twice in committee. 9 Republicans, 5 Democrats, which means they must have 5 rhinos with the 5 Democrats, just like Todd Young, you know, gave us the last gun control bill. So I'm sorry about that, but when it comes to immunizations with children, there are those standards been around for a lot of years at work. The COVID vax has proven not to work.
And she didn't say that. There are those immunizations for measles and mumps.
That's right. It's been around a long time.
Sure, and that's what she's
And they
talking
work.
about. So,
And those I agree with. And that.
Okay, thank you.
we'll see
Anybody?
you next month.
You'll see me probably again this month.
Oh, okay, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Depends on how fast I can get back from Cincinnati.
Mark, you had something else you wanted to run by us? Yes, sir. Go ahead. See you,
Okay,
Patty.
so went out in the pickup truck and I found the report. Is that impressive?
Well,
Well,
Really fast.
it's- I mean, you thought it was on your desk, but it was on the, so
Hey.
I'll look over
a
that.
senior.
It is your desk.
So the last time I was in here, you all signed some change orders. That was the 6th of April. And then when those were finished and it was calculated after that, and before this pile in front of you. In the contingency account, we had 586,000. I'm gonna give this to the ladies at the end, but it's got scribbles on it, so, but anyway. We had 586,000 left in the contingency fund, but we've got this other fund called the general conditions fund. And that fund is what we've been using to pay the testing guys, and it's got $151,000 in it, so we're probably gonna need another 5,000 out of that, so. I'm just roughing these numbers out. Guys. So if the general conditions, you take 151,711, you add 586,187. That's 737,898. I think that pile I laid down here was like 305,000. I think I'll add that up by hand. So somewhere between $400,000 and $437,000 would be left.
So was that after April 19th? Because Paula, the last time I requested one, I had not heard anything back yet, was April 19th.
This one's May 4th, so this takes me up to May 4th. So there's what's.
So it just wasn't shared with me for me to confirm with my numbers with Andy.
Sorry, not that,
Well, that's okay.
but.
I'll look over it tomorrow.
Yeah, well, you know, getting older,
It's okay.
but take a peek at that. So why don't you keep that?
Okay.
You want to keep it? Sure. That's where I was scribbling out. So now there's a couple things there. You know, you guys had I think you all had some actions where you were increasing the architect's fee, and I didn't take that into
So
consideration.
that was part of their initial
Something else.
contract, yeah.
And then I noticed that CCI has when Jack Krause, God rest his soul, set this budget up, it was 300,000, but I see he's 29,000 over that. Do you all want me maybe to send them a note and say, why is that? Or, I mean, I don't mind doing it. So, I mean, that's what that is. That's what that minus number is there. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. So somewhere around $400,000, I guess, to be conservative. That's where we ought to be. So, okay, so,
Have Heather scope it out tomorrow.
all right.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
And I'll send you, maybe if I remember, I'll send you a nice clean copy. It's gonna look just like,
All right.
Without the
okay,
scribbles.
without the script, okay, guys?
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else in the public? All right, hearing none. Mr. Lee.
Oh, yes, I will make a motion. No, I don't.
No,
have
no.
anything. No, I don't have anything. They had the meeting next door here. Kevin was in it, but I wasn't. I did get off work in time, but was a good meeting.
Good enough.
Okay, yeah, that's all. I don't know when the next one is. I'm good.
Okay. Hey,
We had our second Health and Human Relations Commission meeting. And we had 5 each time of the 9, different 5, so it would be interesting to see, but good discussions, a lot of discussions about the health, that it looks like this new state public health funding bill will cover some of those concerns, so that's good. There's been some talk about, you know, people needing dental work, but needed to be covered by Medicare, and so that popped up, and that was kind of an interesting thing. And mobile dental services was something brought up. Do people have opportunities just to get to it? So anyway, there was a lot of discussions along that. So it's been a good meeting. We're trying to just lay out some ideas and see which ones we want to kind of prioritize, both in the health side and human relations side. Because we did talk about a YMCA as a investigating that. Come to find out, there are already a number of people investigating. I got a number of texts, hey, you know, I'm like, okay, so looks like there may be some collaborative effort. I hate that word, but we'll say that to look at that. So that'll be a good thing. But so it's going all right. I think the draft kind of strategy plan for the stormwater management should be completed. We had some comments, so we get that out, and then that'll lead us to the plan and the ordinance, and so those will be coming, like I said, later this summer, but we're close to finishing that up, so.
I forgot something.
No.
Yeah.
One second,
So,
what?
I'm not gonna do this right with that. I just want you to know that our ordinance for our sewer is going to be voided at some point, mostly.
Sewers or septic system? Yeah.
Sorry,
We don't have any sewer, so.
Our OSS, they're
Okay.
gonna, we're just gonna have to rewrite it.
Okay.
So that's coming down the pipeline. We just haven't. We
Big,
just found
big
out.
deal or?
Who's gonna rewrite it?
Not me. It'll have to be Pat
Okay.
McGrath. You don't know, I don't know that he completely knows. He knows mostly. I was emailed back and forth a few times, but we just found out that the state's gonna require us to rewrite it.
How extensive is your ordinance? I mean,
It's a few pages.
I mean, is Pat the guy to do it, or do we get?
Has the state give any
They're gonna
indication?
give us
What they want?
a template,
Okay, so,
so we can operate off of that. They're supposed to be giving us a template to operate off of. Once they get, they don't even have the code in place yet. So we don't have codes to.
Sure. is it
to
from
write
L,
in-
LTAP? I mean, they've done stormwater management and they do septic.
It's from, I think it's a collaboration with IDEM.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
So it's IDOH, it'll be health codes, but IDEM.
IDEM.
And joint with that. So every county entity and us gonna have to redo their,
no, so it's not just us.
it's not just that,
92 other, or 91 other counties.
but hopefully they'll give us a template and we can use
Well, I'm
that
sure
to
they
go
will.
off.
After it's due.
Right. What we do yesterday. Okay, one thing I got is the jail. We had our boiler inspections last week and they passed and we had the UPS, which is uninterrupted power supply was turned up yesterday. Everything is fine. So kitchen's mostly complete, painting still in progress. Administrative side is finishing up the carpet, so the loose ends are starting to come together.
The miles of wire are still being.
Oh, gosh. I wanna know a tally when they're done, how many
Oh,
miles wire is in that building. It will be interesting, you know, to say the least. But anyway, that's all I have. Now you can go.
I don't want to now. I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.